World of Warcraft is dead. Final Fantasy XIV is dying. The MMO genre is in shambles. All those clickbaits, and in order for me to properly address them, I will separate this video in a few categories. The first one will be, what is an MMO? What is the nature of an MMO? The nature of an MMO revolves around three things: release, retention, decline. Every single time that an MMO comes out, or a new expansion comes out, or a new patch comes out, there will be a player resurgence, a player mass introduce. It's kind of like Exodus, but like, intro, like they get inside, right? The game for the first time. So everybody is hyped about the new thing. Everybody does the new thing, and after they have done the new thing, they don't want to play with the new toy anymore because it's no longer a new toy. So they're looking for something else. That's what happened to WoW. That's what's happening currently to FF. That's what happened to LotR. That's what happened to ESO. To all the MMOs you can put out there, that's what's happening and will keep on happening. And of course, like slowly, players will move away up until the next patch, and then they will come back. How many of you took a break when Shadowbringer stopped? How many of you took a break when, I don't know, like during the Mist of Pandaria, very mass waiting time for Worlds of Draenor, so on and so forth, right? This is what happens. This is the nature of the MMO. So you will have your ups and downs, and this is very healthy because during one MMO's downs, another MMO can have its ups. Like they can, in a sense, indirectly collaborate, and we, the customer, win because we get to see, you know what, this MMO has a very good idea. What if, like, we suggest this idea to another MMO? Like, this is why, personally, I'm hoping that both Final Fantasy XIV and WoW and ESO and all of the MMOs are successful out there so that we get to see all the good ideas merging with one another, and in the end, this will result in the second part of the video. The birth of a new MMO. MMOs are keep on coming, and they will keep on coming with the years ahead. Like, what do we have? Like Brew Protocol incoming, a few other titles. I don't know. I've watched Asmongold. There are like so many MMOs coming out that I can't really catch up anymore. And I'm an MMO gamer. The right MMO, for example, so on and so forth. I am expecting, and personally, I'm speculating that we are in a situation similar to what we were back in 2003, 2004, where we had Arcade, Lineage, all the other old school MMOs, and then WoW came out, and it came out and just, pow, it exploded. It sucked the player base of every MMO, and it became one big entity itself. I believe that as technology advances and as slowly MMOs progress, we are right at this turning point where one MMO will come and overshadow all the others. Now, how can this happen? Because we have noticed time and time again that unfortunately the companies that are making MMOs are trying to milk them big with like cosmetics. In the case of World of Warcraft, actually any fucking game, right? If you think of WoW, if you think of Final Fantasy XIV, I don't even know the website that you go to just buy stuff. There are so many cosmetics there. Lost Ark has them, Guild Wars has them, ESO. Hey, not only does it have them, it also has loot boxes, right? To the extent that it is banned in Netherlands, like you cannot really. Anyway, that's a topic for another time, right? Where I'm going with this is not players. The fucking companies are trying to treat players like payers. Okay, so one good MMO will come on and they will give a very good gameplay, which I believe it will be the main core. Okay, now when World of Warcraft came out, it did have that moment. It did have a very good gameplay element to it. It didn't feel as clunky. At the same time, now we have already established that when I say we, I'm not putting myself into this group, but we as a player base have established that we like cartoonish stuff. Like look at the success of Genshin Impact. Look at the success of Blue Protocol and how many players are actually excited for this. Look at the success of World of Warcraft all the way back then. Realistic graphics do not age so well because technology advances. So 14 looks a bit less appealing to the eye, or will look less appealing to the eye because it was designed a few days ago, or well, not really days, more like years, right? So what are we being led with this? We're being led to a return of the MMO genre overall, okay? Like, I don't think it's time for us to be all doom and gloom and discuss about how, WoW is dying, WoW it is, Final Fantasy XIV is dying, and so on and so forth. I think we're right before a turning point. Final Fantasy XIV is about to receive a graphic revamp. World of Warcraft is seeing a massive resurgence of players when it comes to, unfortunately, not really Dragonflight. It's tanking, and I can understand this, being a WoW gamer myself. After what Shadowlands, I would say Shadowbringers, after what Shadowlands did to the World of Warcraft storyline, I wasn't really shocked to find out that Dragonflight doesn't have this appeal anymore to people, right? Everybody keeps on telling you, like, Dragonflight is so good, Dragonflight is so good, and nobody's playing it because We have lost connection to Azeroth. Like, they have destroyed our toy. Like, they took away our toy. They turned Arthas into anima. They brought the jailer. They did whatever they did. They're trying to put political messages in the game. And, like, clearly players don't really want that, right? So the resurgence in WoW is happening in the form of old content. Of WoW Classic. Like, if you go into Twitch right now and you put, like, World of Warcraft, you will see, like, World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore being all the way up there. Yes, I understand. High stakes, people want to watch this, right? What about the servers that are not really hardcore though? Like, I'm playing on Pirewood Village EU, and we have seen a massive resurgence of players. Why is this happening? Like, people want the old stuff. How do they want the old stuff? Why do they want the old stuff? Because they want this sense of adventure. What is a sense of adventure? Every talent point matters. Every profession point matters. Every character item you get matters. How many of you were excited when you started doing Dead Mines and you go to level 19 for the first time, and now you get to equip Cruel Barb, and now you're using Cruel Barb, and now you're broken, you're OP, your damage is insane, okay? You were playing, I don't know, a rogue, and now you with Cruel Barb, your damage is insane. Or you did well in Caverns and you got that bow, and you will keep that bloody bow up until level 22 because there is a better one in Wetlands. Besides the point though, right? You were looking for that sensation of adventure, okay? Your goal was within your reach. You didn't have to grind through X amount of levels in order to finally reach the point where, you know what, now you can play the game. No. You would level up your cooking because you needed your cooking, because you needed to eat, because you needed, like to regenerate health between pulls, right? You were in danger. It was a sensation of, you know what? We're gonna throw you out in the world, kind of like real life, okay? Find your own way, kind of like real life, okay? But in this world, you can experiment, and you don't have, the downsides of real life, which is like, if you die, like it's game over, isn't it? So the important part, and what I have kept from this, is that people really long for an adventure. They don't want a Lord of the Rings, they want a Hobbit. Bear with me. Lord of the Rings is very, very good, and personally, I adore the Lord of the Rings series. Like, it's insane how much I love them, how many times I've watched the movies. Tried reading the books, I suck at reading, didn't go well, okay? So I've stuck with the extended versions of the movies. What am I going with this? Having a big bad is good. But it gets really repetitive when you kill the big bad, and then a super big bad, and then a mega big bad, and then a giga big bad, and you go kind of like this. What do you want? You want an adventure. You want to go out in the world, kind of like the Hobbit. You want to be Bilbo Baggins. We're not necessarily in that story. I would prefer to be the dwarves, but you want to be a group of adventurers going out there and exploring the world. New World tried to do this. How did they try to do this? They tried to, you know what, you're not going to be teleporting around, or it will be very expensive. You won't be having your mounts, and it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. All of it. It's gone. It was destroyed, right? Because this is not what makes an adventure. What makes an adventure is, first of all, it is imperative that there is no data mining. Okay, like, how can I be excited about an adventure if I already know what the adventure is going to be because of the PTR or the beta testing or whatever? No, bad. Do your own testing, companies, okay? So you remove this part, okay? You want secrecy, and you want convenience, and at the same time, difficulty high enough to make players want to achieve the reward, but low enough to not say fuck it. Dragonflight is a very, very, very good example of this. Leveling feels unrewarding. As you level up, you get progressively weaker, so you don't want to level up, even though you should level up, because at max level is where the entire content is, right? So it actually shoots itself in the foot. World of Warcraft currently, retail is not World of Warcraft, it is a patch of whatever the fuck. This is how I address it, because you practically pray the patch, and the patch overshadows all of the content that you have done in the past, right? Like, you can do LFR of 10.1 and it will be around the same item level of Heroic of 10.0. It undermines all of your values. Whereas, like, if you go to WoW Classic, and why I believe WoW Classic is seeing a resurgence, is very successful currently, is because you will still need to do Molten Core. You will go do Zul'Gurub. You will attune for Blackwing Glare. You need to do Ankiraz. I don't like Ankiraz. But you will need to do Ankiraz in order to finally reach the next Rama's destination. And guess what? Not all of them, not all of players get to do Naxxramas. And it's good. Not all players should do Naxxramas. What if your adventure is to collect all the enchanting recipes? Then the Master Enchanter is in Ultiman. You can, like, I don't know, maybe stop your character at level 50, right? Or you can do it at level 60, but you don't have to raid, right? What if you want to be your server's best leather worker? You don't need to go and raid. The materials will eventually come to you. Sure, yes, I understand with the whole Onyxia situation and the scales, but we're not going to go into semantics with this. You have a goal. You should be able to dictate what the goal is. MMOs currently give you choices. You want to do World of Warcraft. Your choice is PvP, Mythic Plus, and raiding. And if you're a casual Andy, I'm sorry, you're kind of in a terrible situation right now, right? Archaeology was abandoned, for example. What are you gonna go do? Pet battles, world quests? They get really repetitive. At the same time, the renowned system feels hideous, feels like you want to advance the story, right? But you have to wait an arbitrary amount of time to advance the story. I'm not really, like, I don't think that the casual player wins there. Final Fantasy XIV, what is the 14's, like, why do people play Final Fantasy XIV? For the story, right? You play FF14 for the story. That's its selling point, right? Sure, it does have its gameplay, the music is phenomenal, I don't want to give a review here, but the epitome of the content that 14 has to offer to you is the story. By the way, Square Enix, you're watching this, give us more voice acting, right? I don't want to do the Blue Cross quest lines and they are without voice acting. Like, this feels outdated. What is this, 2010? Come on, okay, you can do better. You play ESO, you are playing ESO for the lore. That's the biggest appeal of ESO. It's not the gameplay, which it is a make or break situation, right? But the epitome of ESO is the lore behind everything, because it is the lore behind of everything of the Elder Scrolls series. Like, they don't really retcon anything. So, I wouldn't know, and I wouldn't presume to say what the meaning of Lost Ark is. Maybe, like, I don't know, swipe to win or something, I don't know. The situation is, every MMO gives you a very, very solid place where they're very good at, okay? Like, you have WoW, you have this, you have Final Fantasy, you have this. What does WoW Classic have? What is the success of WoW Classic? It has everything, and it doesn't go too difficult. Or the difficulty is to an extent that everybody can do it. It is accessible to everyone. And if it isn't, no biggie, right? You don't have to have 5 different difficulties, you know, like LFR, normal, heroic, mythic. Why do you have this? Final Fantasy XIV, you have like normal trials, you have extreme trials, you have normal raids, you have savage raids, you have ultimate raids, right? You have all those things that spike in difficulty, which is good, and it will keep a tiny portion of the player base really engaged in the game. Good. What about the rest of them? What is the adventure? And this year is why I believe we're right before the birth of a massive MMO. An MMO that will take the player base from literally every other MMO, and it will become what World of Warcraft was back in 2004. It will be the next stage. I don't know how it will do it. I'm not an MMO designer, I'm not a game designer. All I get to do is come out here on YouTube and just give you guys my opinion, right? But it will happen. It will be an MMO whose story will not be as good as Final Fantasy XIV. It will be an MMO whose difficulty will not be as high as World of Warcraft's. It will be an MMO whose lore will not be as rich as ESO's. But it will be an MMO that sparks the sensation of adventure. When you go out in Classic and you fight the Defias for the first time, you don't know what they are, you don't know what they did, right? You just go out there and you kill a bunch of pirates, right? Then you learn of the scandal. If you don't know about the scandal, by the way, I implore you, do Google, learn about the Deadmine story. It is amazing. It ties into the next dungeon, which ties into an endgame raid. It is really, really good, right? But at the beginning, you don't know that. When you start Final Fantasy XIV, let's go back to ARR, or, well, I would say 1.0, but I didn't play 1.0, so I would say ARR. You start as this guy that is doing fetch quests that has no fucking idea what's going on, right? And then you go on and you have like the power of memories and you get to beat some bads and then like a big bad and then a bigger bad, right? So the start of the MMO gives you an adventure. WoW Classic, in my opinion, Final Fantasy XIV, ARR, Heavensward, Stormblood, they succeed in giving you the sensation of adventure. When do they fall short? Class balance. They are outdated, right? At least in the case of WoW Classic. In the case of Final Fantasy XIV, it is the gameplay. Level 50 gameplay sucks. Level 60 gameplay sucks. Level 70 gameplay is good for some classes. Level 80 gameplay is really good, and level 90 gameplay is phenomenal, but for the new player, in order to be able to like fully experience what their class is capable of doing, they need to go through all those difficulties. The MMO that will come out and will be successful will have immersive music, really cool ambience, and I think that the sound team of World of Warcraft, ESO, Final Fantasy XIV, like all the MMOs that I've heard out there, the music, even Guild Wars 2, right? They have really immersive ambience, some really cool themes. So musically, we are there. Graphically, we can be there. Like I have seen, come on, you all have seen like Unreal engines or like I don't know what type of engines, right? I'm not an engine guy. Okay, the only engine I have is the one from my motorcycle, which is thankfully working, right? So we are there graphically. What is there? Someone to connect the dots. Will this be the right MMO? Will this be Ashes of Creation? Will this be some other title that we don't know? Maybe Blue Protocol? Like, you know, Blue Protocol, who has a tiny innovation, but an adorable one. You get to hold hands in game. You can literally hold hands with someone. You can ask to hold hands. And if they want to hold hands, they will hold hands with you and you can walk together. This sounds so stupid, doesn't it? So silly, so goofy. Yet, in an RPG, it is imperative that you have roleplay elements like this. So if you take a studio and you combine all this without trying to excessively milk the player base, and you come out with a good product which simply sparks the need for an adventure, you will have the most successful MMO out there. Honestly, guys, you want my opinion? MMOs are fine. Go play Classic. Go kill the dragon. Go kill Ragnaros. Go have this experience, right? Go play Final Fantasy. Experiment with all of them. Go play ESO. Solo some public dungeon bosses, you know? Do some delves. Figure out, enrich your mind, you know? And when the other MMO comes out, because they will keep on releasing, you will play it and you will know, this ain't it. Or you know what? Hey, this is it. I will close this video by saying that I want an MMO to be addictive. The past week, even though I finished 6.1, no, it was 6.2 that I finished around a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, I have been playing WoW Classic unhealthy amounts of time. And I couldn't help but wonder, why am I doing this? Why am I playing a game that came out 18 years ago? Yes, I feel old now. Yes, you feel old now. We all feel old now. But why am I playing a game that came out 18 years ago? What does this spark? Why is this so addictive? And it is the sense of progression that I was getting. Honestly, I'm looking forward for the next MMO that will replace WoW Classic for me, and that it will be the sensation of adventure. And FYI, for those of you that will say it's nostalgia, I didn't play vanilla back then. I started playing at Wrath of the Lich King. I played Wrath of the Lich King Classic. I didn't like it. I didn't like the new changes. I'm one of those people that didn't enjoy the Heroic Plus changes. I'm one of the people that likes in Wrath of the Lich King the looking for group system to be implemented into the game. But, you know, like I don't want to digress too much, but it's not nostalgia points. It's just good. It's just good. It just sparks the sensation of adventure. And I'm not alone. I have seen so many new players, like I have done Deadmines, Relic Cavern, Shadowfan Keep. I've done all of the dungeons up until Morodon, which I got to do full quest run for the first time this year, 2023, right? And you will see that people are like new. Either entirely new to World of Warcraft, or entirely new to MMOs, or maybe entirely new to like some quest. Like I didn't know that you get to cleanse Celebros and get his stuff, and now you can teleport into Princess and all those things. I wasn't aware, right? I haven't done the entirety of Onyxia's, you know, the unlock, the attunement to the raid. Like, I haven't done all the steps. I'm looking forward for that. And that's what I'm after. And you know what? I think that's what you are after. But if you're not, why don't you let me down? Why don't you let me know down in the comments, right? Let me know. Tell me, you know what? Hey, Baldy, you're wrong. I'm looking for X. I'm looking for Y. And please don't just like tell me what you're looking for. Do your best to like explain why. Because right now we got this media situation where like everyone is like, oh, I either love it or I hate it. Yes, but like why? Could we like know why? Could you like tell us why this is the case and like where we can meet in the middle? Anyway, I'm digressing. What I want you guys to keep from this video is that I don't believe WoW is dead. I don't believe Final Fantasy XIV is dying. I don't believe ESO is dying. I think we're doing fine. And I think we will continue to do fine. Well, at least up until the next MMO comes out, which is this big MMO, and eventually kills all of our MMOs, and then we get to live in desperation until we embrace the new savior. Please, Riot MMO, do not fail me. The lore is there, okay? My brother is a League player, okay? Yes, I know, I shouldn't brag about this, right? But no, he's a high-end skilled League player. He tells me the lore is there, he tells me everything is there. Don't fail me. But anyway, guys, if you made it up until this far, I would appreciate a like, a sub, a comment. You know, you didn't like it, you disagree, dislike it. I know I don't have a situation like I don't have a bias against likes and dislikes. Okay, I believe it is through arguments that we get to progressively advance and like enrich our points of view. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a nice day, nice evening, nice night, whatever it is where you where you live, around the time you're watching this. Stumble upon my words there. Anyway, bye bye.